I had plenty of good things to say about the One More Sonoflow when it came out last year. In fact, it's a headphone that I frequently recommend in many of my other videos as well as my interactions with you guys. Now, fast forward 1 year, we have a new version now called the Sonoflow Pro, codenamed HQ51, and it looks awfully a lot like the old one, as you can see. So, are the changes on the inside then? Well, let's dig in. The One More Sonoflow Pro retails for $88. That's less than when the first gen came out, so that's something nice to see. It also has Bluetooth 5.4 now as opposed to 5.0 with support for the same thing, AAC, SBC, and LDAC high-res certification. In the business end of things, there's 40mm dynamic drivers. There are 5 mics on board to handle noise cancellation as well as phone calls, and the weight is pretty much identical, 247 grams on this and 250 on the older gen. Battery life on the other hand has gone up. It's 62.4 hours with ANC on at 65% volume. Now activating LDAC, which is, more demanding on the battery, under the same conditions nets a very strong 37.6 hours. Once again, there's no wear detection or Google Fast Pair or any kind of IP rating if that's what you're looking for. Aside from the obvious color difference, it's really hard to tell the difference between the new model and the old model out there, say. In fact, I think the molding is the same, even the padding has the same rebound for the ear cups and the headband, even the buttons. Let me try to put it up to the mic here. So that's the new one, and that's they're identical, guys. Even the inside, we have red, nice red padding, the nice contrast there. The ear cups or ear pads are removable still, and with the foam padding right there to protect the drivers. You can see that in there. Really nice stuff. The only obvious visual change that I can spot on the outside is this glossy plastic strip on the headband, the brighter One More logo, and the Quiet Max logo. That's it. Even the rather rare 2.5mm port is still here. They do have a 2.5 to 3.5 adapter cable. The USB-C is on the left side, and here on the front is the power button that serves also as pause play, and there's the plus minus button there, and here we have the Quiet Max / noise cancellation button. We're outside doing the Bluetooth range test, and I have Show Me Love by Alicia Keys piping from my OnePlus Open to the HQ51, aka Sonoflow Pro. And how we do things around here is I walk whatever's on my head from the back of my house towards the side to test how well Bluetooth signals handle direct line of sight as well as with obstacles in the way. So anyways, where I'm standing right now is around 25 feet away from my phone. And once we head around the side of my house, we'll see, nope, so far nothing. And by the time we get to this window, it's around 38 feet. And usually you get some kind of disruption, but it is going strong on these so far. And by the way, I'm using SBC codec. This has LDAC. If you use LDAC, the range is going to be much shorter, and so if you want your best range, either use AAC or SBC. So far so good. I don't have, look at this, I'm all the way like 70 plus feet. Look at this, there's a house between. This is extreme, guys. I doubt you'll be walking this far from your device, so nothing. I'm impressed. One more. Now, in terms of fit, I've always enjoyed the Sonoflows for this first one, and this one, it just like hugs the ears really nicely, and the padding, it just spreads itself out just right, and the compression is good too. And I can shake my head, and it doesn't move as much as others in this price range, so that's really impressive. Now, I'm gonna run with this. Most of us shouldn't do this, but I just wanted to show you how this thing fares when you expose it to, like, vigorous movements or activities. Not a problem whatsoever. It's really light on the head. There's no weird pressure on any part of my skull, which is really great. So for long-term comfort, these things are awesome. But anyways, let's see how the mics fare once we're down by the street. A couple of notes on how the Pro handles noise suppression in a noisy environment like this is I sound more like I'm underwater. I hope there's more traffic that passes through, but compared to like Earfun and JLab that I've tested this year, for example, which sound digital, and they all do. This one sounds digital too. This one seems like I'm more like I'm underwater or something, but it's quiet right now. It's really, really quiet. How does my voice sound? I've tested this a few times, and I hope it shows up in recording. My voice quality is really nice when it's quiet, when there's nothing for the system to do. It's fantastic. But the moment, here comes the car, but the moment like the algorithm kicks in,
it kind of like lets some of the background sound in, and then like my voice is kind of like, it is what you hear right now.
Now, another note too is real quickly is when you press noise cancellation during a phone call, it will switch mode so you can have
You can hear yourself talk, or you can block it out all you want to, or just have it in normal, which I prefer, so I can hear a little bit of both. Um,
And I'm not sure if it's just my unit. I notice if I press the NC button for whatever reason by accident or something, the phone call, the audio will pause from my mics, will pause for about a split second or two while the modes changes over. So I'm not sure if this is my unit and if they will solve it.
in a production model or something like that, because this is a bad behavior, because I don't want my listeners to like, wait, did you just disappear or something?
Did I just cut out or whatever? So yeah, something to note of. I maybe one more has something to say about this. But anyways, let's head back to the studio. Like before, weight distribution is nicely calculated from the top of my sagittal crest to around my mastoid bone. And so I think this is easily a 3-hour long-term comfort kind of listening device. So our house sits about 2.5 miles downriver from the main outdoor concert venue in Bangor. And with the right band and under the right conditions, you can hear quite a lot of the music. Like last night, for example, there was T-Pain and Pitbull, and it was booming out there. Now, with these on, just don't expect like sound booth quietness like that of Bose's or AirPod Max's, but the advertised 12% increase in active noise cancellation performance actually works in real life, like blunting out the harsh stuff and suppressing much of the lows. It's much better than last year's processing, so this gets a solid B+. Wow, talk about little to no battery anxiety, guys. The Sonoflow Pro, according to my numbers, is around 24% longer lasting with ANC on than before. And don't forget, the first Sonoflow was already an endurance beast. And so how one more managed it is anyone's guess at this point. The spec sheet says that the new Sonoflow has the same 720 mAh battery, but I think it's either a typo or maybe we can thank Bluetooth 5.4 for it. Whichever it is, everyone wins. On its own, the Pro sounds good with some nice dips in the lows that could easily please bass heads. The album Living Off Experience, if you haven't heard it, it's by the totally underrated Locks, is fire, guys, with their thumping, smooth rapping drive and energy that these headphones easily handle. However, introduce the OG Sonoflow back in the picture, and I'm personally feeling that the new Pro has the kind of bass that colors every note, muffling slightly but noticeably things like drum strikes and acoustic guitars in the process. Now, I wouldn't be too concerned if the bass fluff was, yes, that's a technical term, guys, fluffy bass. We definitely strive for academic language here at GearUp. But anyways, where was I? Yes, bass fluff wouldn't be a big deal if it wasn't present in almost every genre I sampled, from Norah Jones to Rage Against the Machine. Where this Sonoflow sounded more neutral to my ears, the new one seems aimed at, as I mentioned before, bass lovers. For all its intents and purposes then, it's not a bad thing. Indirectly, however, the upper mid-range to like 4 to 6 kilohertz regions suffer as well. There's a slight reduction in clarity as well as presence compared to the first gen Sonoflow. And remember that this is an important part of the audio spectrum, so I'm quite sure most listeners immediately will be able to tell the difference if they compare the two. Another small downgrade is that the HQ51 at 75 to 80% gain begins to lose composure. In comparison, the older model was like a 9/10 machine. So TLDR, one more must have heard me complain about the lack of bone shaking bass and went in a direction that I personally do not prefer. But again, that's only if you compare the older model's tuning with this. And at least in this case, the new one, imaging is convincing, 3.5 to 2.5 is okay, and now audio quality doesn't change too much between noise cancellation modes. One more has moved to a new app with its new batch of headsets like the HQ51 and the S70. Video of that is coming in a couple of weeks. The app itself is clean and easy to navigate, I'll give it that, just like the previous One More Music app, but I've experienced enough connectivity and app lagging issues that I have to give this a thumbs down until they can fix the problems. It just might be that the app is an early build or I got a glitchy headphone or something. Like, for example, so far, I've seen bad in-app LDAC switching and massive command delays. So out of 10 times of powering the headphones and then connecting to the app, 4 times I've had the headphone experience like major slowdowns from audio playback that sounded like extreme slow-mo, like and then commands that took 3 to 4 seconds to execute, such as like doing simple things like pressing play or pause. It feels like the chipset isn't fully optimized or communicating properly with my phones or something. And I use the Pixel 7 Pro as well as the OnePlus Open as my test beds. And the only solution to this is to reboot the phone completely or cycle the codecs within your phone's Bluetooth settings, because trying to do the same in the app or power cycling the headphone itself don't work. Bolder fonts for the company and QuietMax logos and a small strip of glossy plastics on the headband. I think like One More really took the "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" adage seriously here, guys. Like with the Pro moniker, I was honestly expecting slightly more premium design and or materials, improved control buttons and all that. But here we are with something practically indistinguishable from its older sibling. I have 2 opinions here. The first one is of the buyer with absolutely no knowledge of the first generation Sonoflow. So looking through that lens, the Sonoflow Pro is very good, aside from, the app teething issues, and that's probably my biggest problem here. SQ is solid with the sort of warm tuning reminiscent of a Sony WH-1000XM3 specifically. Battery endurance is OMG good and slightly above average ANC to top that off as well. Now on the flip side, having heard and enjoyed the original Sonoflow, I say that the Pro's SQ has taken a step backward, all in the name of giving us more bass. And so if you like sound that's closer to neutrality, go with the first gen. And also, while it launched at a much higher MSRP than the Pro, the standard Sonoflow can be had nowadays for around $60. Well, this has been the Sonoflow Pro HQ51 review, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you like a unit for yourselves, One More and I are actually giving away a unit to a winner here in the US. The rules and regulations are down in the description below, so check out that giveaway. And if you'd like to check out and buy one for your own, the links are also down in the description box. Again, thank you so much for being here. You know what to do. If you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe, like this video, reshare this channel with your friends, and get the word out there. And remember, guys, to do something loving and kind for somebody in this world, because guess what? If you haven't seen the news, the world needs it more than ever, and it starts with you. I love y'all very much. Peace out and God bless.